Oh, there's a way to enlarge this.
So Marjorie, I think if you look at the bottom, you can at least scroll through the different people.
Yeah, we just
We
did.
just
Just
scrolled.
did. We just scrolled and got you.
Okay. So you can see everybody if you
See
scroll.
everybody at once.
Thank you.
Oh, but the other one is to see everybody at once, I think.
The big crowd.
It is, yeah.
It might be better that way.
It's a little bit better than that.
All right.
That's better if you
You know what, that's not good.
It's cute.
Hello guys, welcome to the third episode of Casa Carmen Live, where we bring our bodega into your home. Today's episode is swimming upriver. We're gonna be drinking our 2019 rosé, and we're gonna be eating a smoked white king salmon from an Alaskan cannery with saffron aioli, and a smoked trout with the spellet pepper aioli. Great, hi everybody, welcome. We're very excited that everybody's here with us today as well. Before we jump in, the usual, we'd like to do some housekeeping items here. The first is be sure to ask any questions. If you have any questions at all, we are happy to answer them. Ask them through Zoom. Through Facebook Live is a little harder for us to see the questions, but so try to ask them through Zoom. We'll try to get to the ones on Facebook Live too. Anyways, just try to interact, try to ask any questions you have. We'll be very happy to answer them. Then the second item is that next Saturday, June 6th, will be the release of our 2019 Viognier. This is a very, very exciting thing for us as well. We're very proud of this wine. It's an absolutely beautiful wine, limited edition. And the episode for that Casa Carmen Live will be called Flowers, Peppers, and Shells. We'll be drinking our Viognier, and we will be eating fire-roasted piquillo pepper and goat cheese pincho and mussels in escabeche. So a little bit for everybody. We'll even have a vegetarian option. Yes. Yeah. But anyway, so everybody pop open your bottles of wine if you haven't already. Most people can't manage to wait until the beginning of the episode, but that's a good thing. Hopefully you guys chilled it a little bit before. I did tell you they were buying it to try and do that. If not, it's okay. If not, it's fine. Okay, so you want to start telling us a little bit about the wine, and let's do it. So first, I know we've said this every single episode, and we will continue saying it. Be sure to give it a good swirl. Be sure to smell it. If you're not smelling your wine, you're not drinking wine. And if you really give it a good swirl and put your nose in this wine, you'll quickly realize that it is very, it has a lot of fruit, especially kind of like apricots and peaches, kind of like white peaches. It has a very, very beautiful kind of floral and fruity notes that are kind of followed behind by a typical crispness of a good rosé. What do we mean by that?
You can come.
You want to tell us? Yeah, you have to mute it.
Sorry, I'm gonna mute anybody that's not muted. Sorry, I'm gonna mute you guys just so that it doesn't get too crazy here.
Yeah, you wanna tell us a little bit of how rosé is made, like exactly what does saignée mean, what does Provençal method mean?
So we often talk about this rosé that we make, the rosé that we make at Casa Carmen, which is a very important wine for Casa Carmen. It was the first wine that we ever bottled was a rosé. This region is really, really good for rosé, and we will talk a little bit about more why that is. And we always talk about the pursuit of making a Provençal style rosé. Now, this rosé that we make is not entirely Provence style because it doesn't use Provence varietals. It actually comes from Bordeaux varietals. But what we mean when we talk about a Provence style rosé is a rosé that is very light in color, a rosé that is very crisp and very dry, a rosé that is very, very drinkable. It's a rosé that can often have several layers of complexity, but always with that kind of crisp minerality that you can just drink bottle after bottle of this outside on a beautiful sunny afternoon without getting overwhelmed in any way. You're just
Yeah, it's also a little bit kind of like lower alcohol levels that I think that's key, especially for wines that you want to be drinking a lot during the day, especially during the summer.
Yeah, and there's two basic ways that you make rosé. One is called the Saignée method. Saignée, which literally means bleeding in French, and that basically what happens with that method is that you take your red grapes, in this case Cabernet Franc, and you put them in a tank. Once they're well, you crush them and then they go in the tank. You let it sit cold soak, that it's called, for a few hours, and then you bleed the tank. You drain the tank of some of that juice into a separate tank, and that juice is a light pink, and that's the Saignée method because of the bleeding that happens. The other method is called the direct press, which instead of crushing the grapes and putting them in the tank, you put them in the press and you just squeeze the grapes and that juice, and you basically throw away the skins or put the skin somewhere else, and you just take that juice, and that is what becomes your rosé.
Which is a little bit kind of like the process of making white wines.
That's right.
It's exactly the same
That's
process, directly to the press.
Yeah, the direct press is the process of making white wine. The Saignée method is more of the process of making red wine, but instead of letting it soak with the skins for a long time, you bleed it before it soaks for a long time. Now, there's quite a bit of argument. The world of rosé, like all worlds, is full of controversy and fights, and some people say that one method is better than the other. In Provence, which is kind of thought of as the authority of rosé in some ways, the only method that is really allowed is the direct press method. And Provence, just so that you get a sense of the dimension of production, over 90% of wines produced in Provence are rosés. And the main method that is used there is the direct press method. The Saignée method is sometimes seen as making rosé as a byproduct of making red, and that's why some people look down on it. But in many regions of the world, that is the main method that is used. From a winemaking perspective, both of those methods are very interesting because they accentuate different parts of the wine. One a little bit more fruit, one a little bit more weight. And so we like to do partial we like to use both and then blend it. And that's what you have in front of you is a partial direct press, partial Saignée rosé made from 100% Cabernet Franc.
Yeah. Well, let's start a little bit with the food. So we're gonna start today with the White King smoked salmon. A lot of you guys have probably already had it at the wine house. I had it at our past menu. This particular one is from an Alaskan cannery called Wildfish Cannery, but they do incredible stuff. Everything is wild caught, and everything is very, very freshly canned. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna have it today with saffron aioli.
What is saffron?
Saffron, exactly. Saffron is the most magical spice around. First of all, it's the most expensive spice in the world. And that is mainly because of how hard it is and how laborious it is to pick it. It's big fields of beautiful purple flowers. And you literally get 2 or 3 threads of pollen, of the pollen, basically, by each flower. So you, just to get an idea, I have here some of the numbers that I found very, very interesting. That is, so 200,000 stigmas of saffron, that's from 70,000 flowers, make about 1 pound of saffron. So that means...
So from 70,000 flowers, you get
exactly.
1 pound of saffron.
And that's with a whole crew working about 40 to 60 hours.
Wow.
So it's very, very labor intensive. The qualities is mainly, more than anything, is the aroma and the color.
Yeah.
He has a very, very particular aroma and color.
And it is a subtle aroma. Saffron is interesting because in some ways, if you put too much of it, you totally feel it. But the right amount of saffron is somewhat a mild aroma. It's a kind of
If
fascinating.
you overdo it, it's almost it feels a little bit metallic almost.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And saffron, talking about the color, it comes from the Persian word sarparan, which actually means gold strong, right? So that's why it actually, when you do this, and you can see it here, especially in this aioli, it's very yellow, right? When you actually pick the threads, yeah, you can see it there. When you actually pick the threads, they're bright red. So it releases a beautiful yellow color, especially when you're doing kind of concentrations of it.
And tell me about the way that you make that aioli, because you don't put the saffron when you're making the aioli. It's not like you add the saffron to the blender or you whisk it in.
So basically, aioli to start with is eggs, olive oil, and garlic. That's the basis of any aioli, right? But to do the saffron, what I do, you always need a little bit of acidity to make any aioli, either lemon or vinegar. So I do a reduction of vinegar with the saffron that I leave it for about a day or so. That way you can mix it into the aioli when you're making it. And that brings the acidity and the color, and all the aromas are already extracted from the saffron. So what I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna start with the salmon.
You can open
it
up.
up.
If you haven't opened your can of salmon, now's a great time.
Now is the perfect time. Yes.
And so swimming upriver, right? The two fish that we're having today swim upriver to their ancestral birthplace to lay eggs. And both of them have been smoked. And both of them have kind of fascinating, very different profiles, although they're both fish that swim upriver and fish that are smoked. And part of the reason why we chose to do them with the rosé is because there is something about that really bright, fruity freshness of rosé that goes so well with the smoked fish.
It goes spectacular, yeah. So if you guys see, it comes like perfect fillets. White king salmon particularly is it's very interesting because it's a little bit of a lighter color than most salmon. That usually you're gonna see it a little more pink or almost towards red. And it was seen actually until not too long ago as not that, it wasn't that common in restaurants. It wasn't that common in a lot of high-end food. And that has changed drastically in the past years.
Well, remember that up until at some point in the mid 20th century, I believe that it was, bluefin tuna was seen as one of the worst fish in the sea. And
like always, that has happened in history many, many times. With escargot, it was exactly the same. Lobster was exactly the same thing. So white king salmon is very particular because it has a little bit higher fat content. Fat, like always, means flavor. Yep, right? So what I'm gonna do, as you guys know, I don't really have a toaster. I don't have anything like that, but I do have this, which is very, very important.
Now's the time to take out your torch.
Exactly.
I know, at least I know that Bill has a torch.
Yeah.
Bill Neal, take out your torch. If anybody else has a torch, do take it out.
So what I'm doing is it's very simple. I'm just spreading the aioli on the bread, and I'm putting the salmon on top. And that's all we're gonna do for this. Well, of course, I'm gonna have to break it apart a little bit, just so we don't eat too much of it.
I'll take the one with the skin on.
Yes, the skin is always, again, it's like eating when you're eating meat. Is next to when it's closer to the bone, the better. Always the skin has higher fat content again, So here you go.
Beautiful. Thank you. Salud, everybody.
So, I don't know. What do you think?
That's amazing. We're just the consistency of the salmon I find just so beautiful. Good job. Good job. Kudos to our friends at Wild Fish Cannery. We'll tag you in the video so that you can see.
They do a particularly good job
Yeah, they do a
with
great job.
the high-end fish. You guys are going to be trying some more of their stuff soon. Okay. That is really tasty. Again, always wine after is a key, just so you don't choke it. Salud. Cheers.
Any questions, comments?
Yeah, so how many saffron threads did you use to make the aioli? So to make a little bowl like this of aioli, you're gonna use about 20 to 25 threads.
Is that like a pinch?
Yeah, it's a pinch. You don't really want to use a lot more.
Which is about the same amount that you would use, say, to make a paella. If you're making a paella at home for 20 people or something, use about just like a good pinch. And that's more than enough.
It really. I mean, if you buy a tin of the saffron, you get a lot out of it. You really do. Usually, you're gonna find it in the small 1 ounce containers, glass containers. They actually have them at the wine and cheese shop. So they do indeed. Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah, that's great.
Awesome. You know what? We should move towards the next pincho that we're gonna do. But meanwhile, let me tell you about when Felipe starts preparing that. Let me tell you about a little bit about the vineyard aspect and the terroir aspect of the rosé. When I started off, I said that the East Coast is a great region for rosés. That is because rosé, what you want in a rosé, what happens to red grapes generally tend to ripen a little bit later than white varietals. And when you're making a red wine, especially a fuller bodied red wine, you need quite a bit of ripeness, which is why making big red wines that have very mature tannins and high levels of sugar on the East Coast is a challenge. It's not impossible, but it's a challenge because you get to that point in the fall where the temperatures start cooling down and the rains start coming and you have to pick. Now, if you're making a rosé, you don't need to wait that long. You can pick before because you don't want those very mature tannins in the rosé. In a rosé, what you want is more of the acidity that the fruit that is a little bit less ripe still has. So you want to capture those fruit qualities, that acidity. So you want to harvest a little bit before, slightly, not too much, but it's enough of a difference. Sometimes on the East Coast, the difference between having a full crop and losing 90% of the crop can be 1 week or 3 days, and that difference makes it makes it very good rosé land. So and 2018, for example, was a very good example of this. 2018, the rains started early and it rained a lot, and it was a huge struggle to create good red wines. However, it was a great year for rosé because what everybody did, all of the winemakers, all of the wine growers in this region, everybody started just picking the grapes before the grapes rotted because of the rain. So I think that this area is, because of that reason, this area is just wonderful to create rosés that are very expressive, that maintain a beautiful crisp acidity, and that are just, drinkability at its best. I think that our rosés, in so many words, it's just drinkability at its best.
And that's what I think rosé should be. I mean,
yeah.
Rosé needs to be very, very, very drinkable. You can enjoy it so much more with acidity.
Absolutely. And real men drink rosé.
All right, so we're gonna go to the trout. I don't know if you guys have opened it quite yet, but it's a rainbow trout that it's absolutely beautiful. Once you open it, you're gonna be able to see the skin perfectly. If you pay attention, you can see the colors, and it's very, very pretty. We are gonna be having with a spelette pepper aioli with whoever was in the past tasting. You already know what espelette is, which is a pepper very, very well known in the northern Basque country, especially in France, in the France part of the Basque country. They use it quite a bit. So it's very, very flavorful, has a little bit of spice, and that's kind of like the basic of any kind of spice that they're going to be using in the Basque country. A lot of times it's going to be espelette.
Yeah. One thing the rainbow trout is from our friends at Jose Gourmet, Portuguese company, amazing cannery. And I just want to read a very quick. They in all of their products they write a little bit of a history of what it is, and this is how they explain the emergence of the rainbow trout. They say, the rain and the sun challenged each other eternally. She prepared her nest of clouds and covered his solar rays. He warmed up the water mirrors, sometimes making them evaporate till the last drop. Tired of all the competition that filled them up and drained it without even asking his opinion, the river tried to get them to reconcile. He declared a tie and gave them an award, the rainbow trout.
Yeah, they have incredible.
So we're not only the only poetic ones.
Exactly. They in all of their products they have kind of descriptions and little stories of how the product came to be.
Yeah.
I love how they do that. So basically, trout is a very very clean tasting and fish because of crystalline waters, especially this one, particularly Portuguese trout. This one again is very clean, very, very beautiful crystalline waters where it comes from. It's smoked, and then it has, like anything that's smoked, it's going to be a very slow process of cooking. So it's going to retain moisture quite well.
Yeah, and you can
That
tell
means-
us. I mean, these fillets are just
Exactly, they're
beautiful.
perfect fillets. You can break them apart perfectly, and they retain moisture very, very well. They get a beautiful smoky taste, and it's very, very clean. It's actually, compared to the salmon, it could be a similar style of fish, the flavor, because also, rivers, the water where they come from, I think is very important for anything. But it is a little bit more fishy than what salmon usually is. Salmon's a little bit milder. So,
And we learned to eat trout as very young boys. Our dad and his brother, our uncle Jose, used to take us on these trips to the mountains in Ecuador, and I just remember them fishing in the cold waters of the Andes Mountains, fishing trout, and then we would always have, or a lot of the times we'd have smoked trout at home with some version of an aioli. And so that mix of the smoky trout with the aioli, which is the same thing that happens with the salmon, right? The mix of the smokiness with the aioli is just.
it tastes like, for me, it tastes like going camping when we're
Yeah.
kids. And, well, hopefully you guys enjoy it.
I love the kick that the spelette pepper has with this stuff. It's just amazing. What do you guys think? Do people like it?
So, do you eat the skin of the trout?
Yeah.
Yes, always. And the skin is spectacular.
Use the skin on everything.
You should.
Except on tomatoes when you are doing just crushed tomatoes.
Yes, when you're doing crushed
Because
tomatoes,
the
you
skins
want
are too tannic.
Mhm.
When you are just kind of crushing the tomato, olive oil and salt on bread, the famous like the Catalan pan and tomaquet, then you should just wait. You take the grater and you just grate it without the skin. But anyways,
Yeah. How are you guys feeling? Do you guys have any questions about the wine, about the food? Yep. Somebody said that they grew up eating fresh rainbow trout steamed over the bed of fresh mint. That sounds
Cool.
actually great.
That sounds
Mint
amazing,
sounds
yeah.
incredible, yeah. I haven't tried it with mint, but I will definitely give it a shot.
that'd be amazing.
Mhm. Any more questions about the wine? I mean, most of you guys have probably already tried it and drank it a couple of times. So I'm guessing you guys are enjoying it.
The other round.
Just one? Yep. Should I drain the smoked trout of its oil? I don't particularly drain it all the time. It's olive oil.
You know what you should do actually? You should use it for the aioli. If you're gonna make
If you're gonna do
make
it,
aioli from scratch, use it for the aioli.
Yeah.
It'd be
It's
perfect.
gonna be incredible. Yeah, it's just pure olive oil that as soon as they smoke it and they before they can it, put olive oil and they close the can.
Yeah.
So it's just olive oil that has all the flavors of the trout and the smoke, which you do not wanna miss on those.
Absolutely.
So somebody's asking about the shirts.
Shirts.
Can I go back to the shirts? Yes.
So for those of you who don't know, I am a very big fan of flamboyant shirts. My dad is embarrassed about it, but it's okay.
He loves us anyways.
And we have some very good sources. So I cannot divulge what they are, but I could place an order for you if you really want to.
Yeah, it's a secret.
And they are culinary shirts, you know?
They got tomatoes,
Vegetables, yeah.
eggplants, radishes, mushrooms, a little bit of everything.
Indeed. Salud. This is so
Yeah, it is.
so lovely.
Tasty. Somebody has actually just mentioned that this wine is perfect for this warm sunny day, which I completely agree.
It is. I mean, it's funny, we are big fans of drinking all wines all year round in some ways, but there is definitely something to be said about a particular time of year in a wine. And I think spring and early summer with rosé, and even like all through the summer with rosé, is just perfect. You know, it just makes you want to sit outside and just throw your head back, close your eyes, just feel the sun toasting your skin, and drink bottle after bottle of rosé as if there was no tomorrow.
Yeah.
At least that's how it makes me feel.
So yeah, somebody's asking if Casa Carmen is serving outside already. So yes, we starting yesterday. We opened for outside seating only. Of course, we're following all the rules that we need to do. All tables are 6 feet apart. Luckily, we do have quite a bit of outside space. Our neighbors at Kaleidoscope let us put a table on their porch.
Yeah, we have amazing landlords and amazing neighbors.
Yes,
And
they have
it
been
just,
very
it just
helpful.
speaks to how awesome this
Yeah,
community is.
it's a beautiful place to be a part of.
One thing I will say about that, for the foreseeable future, we're continuing to do this exactly the same way. Now, if at some point before we end the cycle of Casa Carmen live tastings, we can open inside, we will then have to change the Casa Carmen live tastings to Tuesday night. But for now, nothing is changing. For now, everything's staying the same. And if we do have to change it to Tuesday nights, we will let you know with enough time in advance so that you can plan around your very busy quarantine schedules.
Somebody is asking if the Casa Carmen Rosé can be used to treat COVID-19. But it's
Yes.
worth the shot.
Yes.
It's definitely worth the shot.
At this point, we should try everything.
Yeah.
It is fermented for the seemingly incurable.
Yeah. How does it go?
Fermented for the seemingly
Incurable sadness. Yes.
So,
It is
at
fermented
least for that,
sure.
it'll work.
Yes. Are you going to, or have you made a green wine?
Like vino verde, you mean?
Yeah. Do you mean like vino verde? We haven't. I mean,
If you mean vino verde, there's an interesting thing with vino verde because all or most cultures have their own version of a green grape. Our kind of staple white is the Gruner Veltliner, which is a grape of Austrian origin, which actually means green from Veltlin. It's the green grape from the region of Veltlin, which is Austria. Well, it's actually now Italy.
yeah.
But anyways, it's a very kind of crisp and lemony varietal. But,
Yeah, and in every culture you're gonna have, you're gonna have verdejos, you're gonna have vino verde. Yeah, so you're gonna always have.
absolutely. So if that's what the question was going towards,
Yes.
we do indeed.
Do you guys have any more questions about the food? Well, you guys know all the tin fish that we are showing you guys now. We are gonna be having it at the wine.
We have
Fest
them
here.
available
Yeah.
for sale.
So you guys can buy any of these stuff anytime. So that's-
We have lived off of tin fish our entire life, and look
Yeah,
at us. We're
exactly.
doing great.
especially with the shirts.
Yeah.
And there's another question. Another question. No, that last one was the COVID-19 one. So
Okay, so without if there's no other questions, kind of going back to a little bit of what we said earlier is that remember that if you haven't purchased your kit for the next tasting, do purchase it. If not, if you already purchased it, don't worry about it. It'll be delivered to your door. But it will be the next one. The next episode is flowers, peppers, and shells. Viognier, piquillo pepper pinchos, and mussel pinchos. And flowers is because the Viognier is so flowery.
Yeah.
But anyways, this is the release of our limited edition 2019 Viognier.
yeah,
which is
and
a lot of
you
fun.
will see once you open that bottle, this particular year has been especially flowery.
Yeah, very flowery.
It was a great year actually for 2019. Was great.
Yeah,
It was
it
a
was
great
an
harvest.
amazing, it's
It
an
was a
amazing,
beautiful
amazing,
year.
amazing year. Low yields, but really just kind of all the ripeness.
But
that
that's
you
what we
can
want
dream
here in
of
the East Coast as well. I mean,
was there.
Yeah.
It really was phenomenal. And for those of you who don't know, 2019 was the first year that we processed our grapes in our own facility for the first time, which is the Wine Collective. The Wine Collective is an urban winery in Baltimore that we created as a co-op where we make wine with a few other wineries. It was awesome concept. It's a bit of a bridge between the rural and the urban, and there's a few of us that kind of come together under one roof in a warehouse in Baltimore City to make wine together, and it's so much fun. I mean, I can't wait for it to open so that we can start taking a couple of buses from Kent County to
Yeah, I think we should definitely do that.
to Baltimore to see
We
it,
should
because
definitely
it
do that.
really is a lot of fun. It's a beautiful place.
Yeah. Somebody was asking about the olives that we had last week. Also, you can always get them here. We have
Those
everything.
olives really are a hit.
They are.
Yeah.
They're a very particular flavor. I know Anne, somebody that's here, she loves them, and I always send it to her. We always have them available for sale here. So if you guys want to take them to go, I always have them available.
Yeah. They're a fascinating thing, because I think what happens with them is that it's the type of olive that most people haven't really tried that particular one, and it's a very different flavor. But it's a very friendly flavor. It's almost like kind of a citrus and fresh flavor.
Yeah.
They're
And again, they're very big and fat. They're called gordal because of that. That means kind of like the fat one. And they are meant for eating. They're meant for eating. You do not do olive oil or anything like that because they don't really have enough oil content to have that concentration.
true story.
Yes. Yes. Annie's saying that she might turn into a gordal olive.
You didn't know we're gonna
Yes, there's so many of them.
Yeah, we're gonna turn into tin fish.
Exactly.
But anyways, if there's no more questions, guys, we'll get going here. But we will leave the Zoom meeting open for a little while longer.
Yeah.
People
can
feel
chat.
free to hang out and to chat. We will mute ourselves so that we can start kind of moving things around and cleaning up and stuff. But you're more than welcome to stay as long as you want, chat as long as you want, drink as much wine as you want. If you run out of wine,
We are open until 9 today.
most of you can just walk over, get some more wine, and go back to the soup.
You guys can come and drink out here as well. We're here until 9 p.m.
That's right.
So
Yeah, we'll be here until 9
anytime.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
Yes, we love you
Always-
guys. Thank
always
you
a
again for
pleasure.
the support.
Thank you. Hi, Matlax.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Thank